Well, hello there. Welcome back to another video. I've got the UK box office results from last weekend, but today I also want to talk to you about Jurassic World. Yeah, so usually on Thursday I go through the UK weekend box office results from the weekend just gone. We talk about that for a little while and then I go through the upcoming releases for the next week. But today I'm going to do things backwards as I really want to talk about this week's big release, Jurassic World 2 Fallen Kingdom. The movie came out in UK cinemas yesterday ahead of the release in the US, for example, that I don't think they're getting it until the 22nd of June. And full disclosure, I'm a massive fan of the Jurassic Park franchise. I absolutely loved Jurassic World, so I was automatically very excited for this movie. But I have to say, judging the marketing alone, I didn't think this movie was going to be as good as it was. In fact, I would go out and say the discrepancy between how good the movie is and how bad the marketing is going to make its box office results particularly interesting. I think I joke about quite a lot on the show where I throw in the variable that the film could actually be good, but I was shocked today to come out of the cinema and be able to tweet that this is my favourite blockbuster of the year so far, especially given the amount of blockbusters that have come out so far this year. But the director, J.A. Bayona, does such an impressive job. And he actually retweeted me about an hour ago. I'm still fangirling a little bit over that. But anyway, we'll come back to the Jurassic World box office in a little bit. First, let's go over the UK weekend box office for this weekend just gone. And here it is, the top 10 films at the UK box office for the week of the 1st to the 3rd of June 2018. First thing we got to talk about, I sound like a broken record, but Solo, a Star Wars story, although it continues to be at the top, has had a drop of 48%. The drop is the percentage difference in its figures from this week compared to last week. And with blockbusters, we tend to expect the drop to be between 40 and 60%, which this falls into. However, because Solo did start out with such a low figure anyway in its first week, if there was any chance that the film would bounce back or not do as badly as it seemed, it's now gone. Because next week, as we've already mentioned, Jurassic World is going to sit up there at number 1. And so with just £3 million this week, Solo has lost its opportunity at being the big summer blockbuster. Now it's kind of in the realm of Ready Player One, which I was thinking about the other day actually, and I think you can draw a lot of comparisons between Solo, a Star Wars story, and Ready Player One, because they're both really ambitious blockbusters that feel maybe a little bit outdated, and so they have terribly underperformed at the box office. The show last week seemed to provoke a lot of comments and a lot of anger from people. Thank you for that. I think somehow my box office show last week found its way into the Star Wars fan circles. If any of you are still watching, hello, thanks for joining. But to sum up, I got a lot of comments saying that it is not Star Wars fatigue. It is more of a boycott against Disney, Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy for what they did to the franchise in The Last Jedi. If you're new to the show and have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm going to point you to last week's video. The only reasonable sized new movie to hit the box office this week was Book Club, which as you can see came in at number 5, which generally means it's one of those kind of throwaway movies that is going to be coming out on streaming and on DVD very quickly. Honestly, if you've seen the trailers, it's not that surprising. It looks like a bit of a throwaway movie, but a part of me did think because it is such a different demographic, it might have some legs. But again, it's the animated film Sherlock Gnomes that continues to counter-program the blockbusters that are sat above it, which manages not only to have a strong hold on last week, but it actually had an increase of 36%, which is quite rare. And speaking of increases, I was about to do a whole bit saying that increases are really rare and they tend to always be drops. But another film has increased this week, and that is Show Dogs. The UK audience is actually quite well known for loving these kind of family films and animated films. They do particularly well over here. And as the top of the list is very blockbuster heavy, we've currently got Solo, Deadpool 2 and Avengers Infinity War. And as I've mentioned, Jurassic World 2 is probably going to jump up to number 1 next week. I'm kind of happy for Sherlock Gnomes and in some ways Show Dogs for being able to get a little bit of audience from the group of people that want to go to the cinema but don't want to see one of those big films. Let's talk briefly about Deadpool 2, which had a really nice 33% drop, which is actually quite low. And Avengers Infinity War had an even lower drop of just 13%, which again really shows the weakness of Solo at the box office, as the slightly older blockbusters have managed to benefit from it doing so badly. Out of interest, now Infinity War has been out quite a while. It's been out for 6 weeks. It has made £68.8 million in total, which puts it at number 11 at the UK's biggest movies of all time. Interestingly, the next film for it to be at number 10 is Mamma Mia. Yes, when Mamma Mia came out, it did extremely well in the UK, which is why I feel like we're all kind of looking to the summer when Mamma Mia 2 hits cinemas. The UK is really going to be the test of how well that movie can do. If you've no idea what I'm talking about and have no idea that there's a sequel, I'll leave the trailer to it down below. I have many opinions on it, as the first movie is one of my favourite films. I feel like a lot of you are judging me for saying that. Okay, finally, let's go back to Jurassic World and talk about its figures and what we can kind of expect. As I mentioned earlier, the film is coming to the UK largely before the rest of the world, so our box office results are going to be the first data about how audiences are taking the film. Before I saw the movie, I would have said it has no chance of living up to the incredible results achieved by Jurassic World, which, as you can see, did the best out of the whole franchise. If you don't adjust for inflation, it made $1.6 billion at the box office, which until very recently made it the fourth best film of all time, until Avengers Infinity War pushed it down into number 5. But you know what? Having seen the film and having enjoyed it so much, largely because I think it went back to its horror roots, the tension in the film, using such simple techniques and not overly relying on CGI, while also introducing important social commentaries and opening a door for the future of the franchise. I now think if word gets out, this movie could do extremely well. Of course, I'm not going to talk about any spoilers. I want you to go along and watch the film and enjoy it fresh as much as I did. But one thing that the director does a lot through the movie is he plays with light to build up tension, with flashing or broken lights so that you only see the dinosaur in increments getting closer and closer to the action. It was done a lot throughout the film with lots of different sources of light, but it never became old or tired. And weirdly, they used a lot of shadows of dinosaurs in this film, which, saying it out loud, sounds kind of lame, which means there are certain sequences which feel like an instant classic. If any of you are film students, you will know you get shown a ton of clips from classic movies, and I can just see in 10, 20 years time a clip from this film being used to demonstrate how to do great tension. But anyway, the reason I am gushing for this movie is the marketing, as I mentioned earlier, truly I just think doesn't do it justice. And so, to be realistic, it's going to sit somewhere at number 2 between Jurassic World and Jurassic Park. Other than its poor marketing campaign, the only other thing stopping Jurassic World 2 from reaching big numbers is how crowded the box office currently is. As we've already gone over, there are currently 2.5 blockbusters clogging up the top 5, and in the coming weeks we've got Incredibles 2 and Ocean's 8, and so there are too many variables to be able to make a prediction at the minute. But I, for one, cannot wait to find out how it does. As always, if you're heading to the cinema this week, let me know what you're going to go and see. If you've been to the cinema already this week, what did you see and what did you think of it? As always, I love to hear your opinions on movies, so don't be shy, drop me a little comment or drop me a tweet. And that's where I'm going to end the show for today. If you want to watch more of me, as always, I'm going to leave another video around here. So all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.